Well, everyone, I've been kind of talking about some weird iPhones in this day and age, and another weirder iPhone that I've talked about last year as well is the iPhone XS Max. This is such a funny iPhone to me because on one hand, it did bring some things to the table, which I really appreciated, but however, it really doesn't make too much sense to buy this iPhone anymore because the successor of this device, which is an older iPhone nowadays, and you can also pick up in the used market for pretty cheap now too. It's just such a better phone in pretty much every single area that if you didn't have an iPhone XS Max, I honestly couldn't even figure out a way of why you'd prefer an iPhone XS Max over something like an iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now, first of all, the body of the XS Max is still beautiful. I've already hit on this iPhone earlier this year, and as I mentioned in that review, I still think the iPhone XS Max looks and feels really good. It doesn't feel like a cheap iPhone, and even when I compared it to my 13 Pro Max, it really doesn't feel like an old iPhone either, and those are some really big things to keep in mind. Now, on the flip side, when you look at the internals of the iPhone XS Max, this is where things start to get a little bit interesting. I never really hated the XS Max, and I never really thought it was like a bad performing or like a bad battery life iPhone at that time, but when I looked at the iPhone XS Max now, and when you look at the successors of the XS Max, it makes absolutely no sense to buy this iPhone. The battery life on one hand is also not that good, and this was probably my biggest complaint at that time. The iPhone XR, which was substantially cheaper than the iPhone XS Max, had a much better battery life than the iPhone XS Max, and that was so crazy to me. I still don't really understand that. Nowadays, obviously the 13 has less battery life than the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and honestly, I don't know if that's a right thing, but that's kind of how it should be. I mean, you're spending more money on the 13 Pro Max. You should be getting a better phone in every single area, not just in some areas and some areas not. With the XS Max, it was really, you're getting a bigger, phone, but you're really sacrificing on the battery life. The performance also was, the same pretty much with the iPhone XS and iPhone XS Max and iPhone XR. You had an extra gigabyte of RAM, which was nice, but even when I looked at the iPhone XS, that was a really, really good phone, but that also suffered pretty much the same problem with the iPhone XS Max as well. Now, I wouldn't have really complained about this iPhone too much if the iPhone 11 Pro Max wasn't that great of an upgrade. The XS Max was, I guess, a good phone at that time, but the iPhone 11 Pro Max was a tremendous phone. Apple literally fixed every single thing that was wrong with the XS Max, but they also went ahead and improved the build quality with the frosted glass back. They added an extra camera on the back, which is really cool, and they increased the performance, and I really like that, and the phone felt much more like a flagship at that time. So in my opinion, the XS Max is a really weird phone in 2022. It doesn't really make too much sense to buy anymore, and if you thought the iPhone 12 mini was a weird phone, the XS Max is even weirder because the successor to the XS Max, which is the 11 Pro Max, was a much better phone in pretty much every single area. So in terms of that covers it up there. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.